Hi everyone, welcome back. We are here. Come and find us. We have just had the best presentation, sorry I couldn't think of the word there, from Christine, the lovely Christine, who has joined us. So thank you so much for coming, Christine. We absolutely love blankets. Everyone loves blankets, I think, but I think they think that it's so just straightforward, but actually there's so many things that you can think about and so many different things you can do. So for anyone that thinks blankets are boring, because I have lots of people that message me and say blankets are boring, please stop making them. Actually, come and see this lady here because they are not boring at all, at all. So yeah, thank you so much. It was so lovely. If anyone that's joining us will know that Christine has had such a journey with your blanket making and what you're now exploring with blanket making. It's so wonderful to hear your story and how wonderful and restorative they are for you. That's what really struck a chord with me. When did you realize that? When did you realize that actually it was such a good thing for you personally?
I actually did not want to make blankets for the longest.
Oh.
Scared of them. I'm like, this is something that's going to end up in my whip pile, never to be seen again. I don't have, because I have commitment issues. I want to do a 1 hour beanie and we got to move on to the next thing. But I had this lovely color palette in the Lion brand Woolies, Thick and Quick, and I'm like, man, that would make a really good blanket, and I could be talked into making a blanket because it's a number 6 yarn. It'll go fast, right? I can commit to that. So yeah, I made this blanket. I named it my fireside blanket. And
yes, you talked about it, didn't you? Yes.
Yeah, that was my first ever blanket. And to this day, it's still one of my best sellers in my Etsy shop, in my Ravelry shops. And it just uses the almond ridge stitch. But speaking of the almond ridge stitch, I was beginning to experience panic attacks a lot. And just every day was just a new problem. And for some reason, the almond ridge stitch in particular, I liked that I just had to count 4 of one, 4 of another one, then 4 of one, 4 of the other one. And it was just enough it wasn't completely mindless, but it was enough for me to think about that versus all the other things that were going on in my head. I actually wrote a blog post about that too, about getting myself through panic attacks and the fact that I was very drawn to the almond ridge stitch at first. So I guess that would be how I got into making blankets, and then using crochet as a form of mindfulness and finding my calm through that. And then, yeah, after I did that first fireside blanket, it was all over. Now it's just like, all I want to do is make blankets, and all I can think about is, oh,
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. And I think that's why I was tripping over my words there to start with, because I have a similar experience. I've not really shared with many people actually, but I got diagnosed with PTSD a number of years ago, and I was having significant panic attacks. I know it's just so debilitating, isn't it? And my project for me, even now my heart is racing. It's horrid, isn't it? My project that I did, I designed a hexagon, a little flower hexagon in the middle, and I was just like, if I can do one of those a day, and I laid it out on our dining room table, and I was like, I'm going to make this and I'm going to build this. And every day that was my calm. And then I added it and it just grew and grew. And for me, doing that motif and just putting it down on that table, and I've got pictures of every day that I built and built and built it. And I cannot tell you how much that helped me in my journey and in my process to becoming well again, or overcoming them. It's such a powerful thing, isn't it? Blankets.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah. And people, oh look, Joanne's here saying, sorry to jump already. Joanne saying, thank you for your presentation. And yeah, meditative. That's such a hard word to say. Yes, that's the word. That's the word. That's the word. And I think as well, even if you don't have anything to need to work through or anything, I think it's just really good for all of us to take that time in that space, isn't it? Definitely. Oh, it's jumping around. Jessica's saying your patterns are so beautiful. I tend to love them before I know who the designer is. And I think your patterns have definitely got you definitely in them. I can look at them and say, yeah, that's Christine's pattern. Definitely. Yeah, and another vote saying, I love making blankets, super relaxing, and always have one going. Definitely.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any questions for Christine, because you taught a lot about the processes of it as well. I loved your section on the multiples thing. Like, so many people get confused by the multiples. So if we need to go over that again, please ask us any questions you would like to. No,
Yeah,
another
that's probably one of my questions I get, and I'm sure you ladies too. And it's and I'm not a math person, I'm not a numbers person, but the multiples really isn't a hard thing. And if I can figure that out, then you can too.
But you know, it only takes for someone to say it once, and then you kind of it
Yeah,
clicks, and you think, "Oh, of course, absolutely, yeah." Just disregard the plus whatever, and just
yeah,
concentrate on the first number, and then just add plus, plus two, plus three, whatever it says. So yeah,
yeah,
it's a pretty easy thing then to remember. But it's just kind of that light bulb moment, isn't it? Like, oh, of course, it's so easy. But unless someone says it, it's not.
Yeah, definitely.
right.
Oh, here's a good question on that then. It's saying, Helga's saying, if I use foundation stitches, do I need to account for the plus whatever?
On the multiple.
No, you just want a multiple. Now you're just going to do multiples of however many that particular stitch repeat requires. Then you don't have to worry about the plus, because really the plus is just for your turning chain if you're starting with foundation chain.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's a thing. Like, yeah, you can't just replace the number, can you, with foundation? So if it's not written in the pattern, you need to figure it out, don't you?
About it, but again, it's not hard. You really just eliminate the turning chain, the plus, whatever the plus is, and then depending on whatever that stitch repeat is, if you know, you look at the pattern, and the designer talks about that repeat, and then that's what your foundation. I prefer to start with a foundation over a chain myself. So.
Yeah. I do now. It took me a long time to come to it, but I really like it now. I was very angry at it. I was like, no, it's too faffy. It takes too long. And then, and like anything, isn't it? I practiced it, and then I was like, oh, actually, it's really easy.
But I always used to struggle because mine used to be so much wider than after the first row. And I worked out that when you go back under the loop, I was just going under the one strand rather than both.
Yeah.
So because it was just the one strand, mine used to be so wide. And then I kind of worked the first row and then it did that. So I was like, what am I doing wrong here? And then I actually worked out if you go under both of those loops on that extra chain, it does kind of stay within proportion.
There we are. And on that note then, Kristen's saying, do you have any strong opinions about with a starting chain versus with foundation stitches? I can't figure out the latter.
I prefer foundation stitches. I like them because I feel like it's a cleaner end. Like if I'm going to put on, or if you're going to put a border on, it's so much easier to work into. That's just my opinion. And yes, it's Hannah was saying it does take a lot longer, but just put on a good show. Okay, put something on Netflix and
Yeah.
because it's for me the end result is worth it. So
You can kind of tell yourself, I'm working like the starting chain and the first row together at once.
Yes.
So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone because you are working the first, like a foundation chain and the first row all at once. So if it takes you a little bit longer, just give yourself a break because you're doing two things at the same time.
I also think though, like why we're always in a rush, aren't we, to get things done quickly? Like, so what? So what if it unless you're on a deadline, if you need to make this by this point in time, just enjoy the process. And if by doing foundation stitches you get a better end result, it's like anything, isn't it? By putting the time and effort in to do that gauge swatch, by blocking it, right? You know, all of these things, these extra things, if it gives you a better result, then it's certainly worth it, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Which stitch repeat, is your favorite when using a bulky yarn?
I just finished a V-stitch blanket, and it's my newest, and I really, really love how that turned out. Super easy. And all you have to do is double crochet. So it's a really mindless or mindful, depending on how you're looking at it, pattern. But I also mentioned the almond ridge stitch. I also love using that in a bulky yarn. I really like the texture that it creates, and I feel like it pops out better when you're using a bigger yarn versus
Mhm.
like a number 3 or a number 4. And I mean, it still looks pretty because I've done hats and fingerless gloves, in like a worsted weight yarn. But I feel like the chunky blanket with the ripples, it pops out so much better. So those would be two of my
Have you
favorites.
got a
Your favorite?
Have you got a favorite bulky yarn brand you always go to for your blankets?
Yes, and it's Hugh and Me. Anybody that follows me knows.
I love you.
I know people seem to have like people are like, I don't like using it, it's too stiff. I love it for my blankets. I probably at least half of my blanket patterns are in Hue and Me. So I love the color palette. I feel like they, no matter like what colors you put together, they all
Yeah.
work together well.
Mhm.
And again, if you have commitment issues like I do, then your blanket works up faster too. So
So you're probably the one to really ask how it holds up in a wash, you and me, because if half of your blankets are in that yarn, I'm pretty sure they've all gone through some wear and tear and washing and using. So you can definitely tell us how it holds up.
yeah, no, it does. The first wash I'll have a little bit, but after that they're good. So
Fantastic.
That's always good to know. Always good to know. So Debbie's asking, if you use thick yarn for a blanket, can I use worsted weight? I'm not into thick yarns.
well, you can use whatever yarn you want, honestly. Just be mindful of the fact that if you're following the pattern exactly, it will come out smaller. And if you're okay with that, or you'll just start with look at the pattern, of course, and whatever the stitch multiples are, you can make up for that and still make it the same size.
Yeah, definitely. And then Julia saying, do you have any recommendations for yarn choices for baby blankets? Oof, it's a good question.
I did a baby blanket last year and I really loved it in Color Theory, and I really out. It's a really good drapey yarn. So I don't do a lot of baby blankets, but I do need to make another one here soon, and I'm gonna use Color Theory again because I really love it.
Well, again, so the colours of that are chosen by the same design. They're chosen by Alexia, aren't they? Who does the colour palette for Hugh and Me? And I'm like, when they came out, I was just like, this is what you need to do. This is what you to choose a designer to choose the colours, and you'll be fine, because they all do work with each other, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're great.
Definitely. Right, look. Oh, lots more I've missed.
Scrolling back.
Oh, and then again on baby blankets, I'm stuck on this. I have a few skeins of unknown fine baby yarn. What would be the best stitches to make a baby blanket?
Ooh,
Yarn.
I definitely wouldn't go for like a short stitch, like the linen stitch or moss stitch. I would go for maybe the granny stitch with something that's a little
Taller, yeah.
Yeah.
go through.
Stuck there forever.
Yeah. I don't work with a lot of fine yarns just because of my carpal tunnel, so it's hard for me to hold on to the little yarns. But like right off the bat, I would say probably, or maybe like the tulip stitch. The tulip stitch would be really pretty.
Yeah, nice.
Lovely.
Definitely. I remember when I first started designing, I did loads of baby blankets. That was like my thing. Like I learned to crochet kind of when all of my friends started having babies and stuff. I was like, right, these are easy gifts. I wasn't earning much money at the time as well, and I was like, I can't afford presents, so I'll make them. And I used like a 2.5 millimeter hook. I bought some yarn from this local market, and it wasn't like really it wasn't labeled as anything. It was just yarn. And I had no idea, and so I just figured out like this kind of hook, kind of like, and this, oh, that's kind of the size I want it. This, like, I think blankets are a great way to experiment with stitches, with yarn, with hooks, with drape, with so many things you can experiment when you're making blankets.
Yes, I like that they don't have to fit anything. It's not like they don't have to fit, so you can really just, it's kind of like you said, it's almost like a free-for-all, and you can experiment, and it's flat, and you just work back and forth in rows. Well, most blankets you work back and forth in rows, but and it's just good repetition and practice, and yeah, great to experiment with.
Definitely. Oh, we've got someone, Billy Joe, saying, love your crochet tops. Thank you. And then Andrea's added to the conversation about the foundation chain, which is a really good point. Crochet into the back bumps. I always crochet into the back bumps anyway, even if I'm doing a foundation chain. So if you're unsure about foundation chain, it will give you another smoother look. And it does, because it rotates it so that you've got both of the loops then on the other side, haven't you, for when you're working the border. So yeah, that's another really good tip there. Do you have any tips on choosing fresh color palettes?
That's what I do. I go to Pinterest and I search up what mood I'm looking for. Yeah. And I'll just create a board, and I'll, from there I'll piece together, what yarns. That's how I'm working on my Christmas Advent blanket already. And that's, how I chose the colors for that, is I just, I knew I guess the vibe I was going for with this blanket. I didn't want it to be super Christmassy, like all reds and greens. I wanted some other colors in there so people can use it all year round. So I found, some color palettes, put them together, and just chose what ones I like best. I also do look on, I like looking at Anthropologie's blankets specifically, because I look, that gives me ideas. The colors that they put together, they just in particular together. So I will also look them up. I know that's weirdly specific, but that's how. So.
Yeah, I think anything, if you like a certain brand or a certain company, I think definitely go and look at their stuff, and that yes, the stuff for my home comes from this company. So therefore, if you I look everywhere for color palettes. I'm always like taking pictures of all sorts of random things, going, oh, I like those together. Like, for example, the sweater that you're wearing, Christine, I really love those colors together. Like that would be an awesome blanket selection there.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Right, where have we got to? Jessica saying, what yarn is best for a lightweight throw for those that get chilly with the air conditioning or breezy beach time?
I'm in the north, so I crochet a lot to stay warm. Do a lot of warm weather blankets, but I will go back to the color theory, because again, I really like that was a nice, like, breezy, easy breezy type blanket. But also I would do like a cotton blend too. Find a nice cotton blend yarn, if you live in a warmer state than I do. Definitely like a number 3 or a number 4 cotton blend is probably what I would reach for. But yeah, I guess I might not be a lot of help, because like I said, I usually work with bulkier yarn. I'm trying to stay warm up here. So
I think it depends what you're looking for, doesn't it? I mean, like, but Veronica and I have just done a crochet along, haven't we? And we use sport weight, didn't we?
Yeah.
And actually it worked, because they're motifs and they were like relatively like open and long stitches. They didn't actually take that long to make, did they?
Yeah. We have been talking about bamboo yarn as well. Yes. Perhaps that would create a really lightweight drapey throw.
Yeah, it would be warm actually, wouldn't it? Yeah, bamboo would be nice and warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other important thing. It's like thinking about the fiber and the yarn weight for its purpose. Like, Christine, there's no point in you making lightweight blankets, is it, if you've got to stay warm all year round? Like, whereas like in the UK, we have every season under the sun, don't we? Like, so we have to have different ones for different purposes.
Not so much seasons as days. Let's
days,
here. Like, you're freezing one day, then you're boiling the other day.
Yeah, like this morning I was like, I've no idea what the weather forecast is. I have no idea what to wear yet. I don't. Who knows what it will be.
Best thing is to look out your window and not trust the forecast here. That's what I've learned. That's the one thing you have to remember.
Oh, we have Vima's here. Love crocheting wearables. My favorite and first thing that got me attracted to determined to learn to crochet 5 years back, and I'm loving making and wearing crochet almost all the time. Oh, that's so lovely to hear. So lovely to hear. And that's the thing. I think with blankets for me though, I feel like lots of people feel like oh, I'm past being a beginner, so I don't need to do blankets anymore. And I think that's such a sad thing, because blankets have so much to offer people who have had 50 years of experience of crocheting, and you can still learn something new by finding a pattern that uses something new to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like don't ever pigeonhole yourself and say, oh, I can't do blankets anymore.
No.
To be honest, sometimes I look at some blankets and all the different stitches and colors, and I'm thinking that is a pattern that is going to take some willpower to get into and finish, and work through all the stitches and stuff. Even circling back to earlier presentation from Erin, the mosaic crochet, if you mastered everything else in blankets, give mosaic crochet a go. And so many different techniques that you can learn on the blanket, because it doesn't need a lot of shaping, does it? So you can just go for the technique and for the colors and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and Julie has said, love the fact that if the blanket isn't working for me, I can turn it into a pet bed. Excellent plan.
Been there, done that. Yep.
Oh yes. Yeah, I do it for my kid. I don't, my pets don't get them, but my children do, so they can make dens out of them.
Lovely.
I'm like, yep, cool. Do whatever you like with that one. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yep, but not with these. Look, like we have clear boundaries in the house.
For sure.
So do you get to keep your blankets, or do they get pinched by your family and friends? And have you got your stack of blankets do you keep?
Okay, yeah. So I usually will gift them. For anybody that knows me, you know that we live off grid. We live in a tiny cabin. So 384 square feet to be exact, although I'm sitting in our camp. So my space is very limited. So I have to be picky about what I choose to keep. And likewise, my yarn stash is also, has to stay small. So I do normally gift my blankets, but there are those few that as I'm making them, I'm like, this one isn't going anywhere. Oh, we got to keep that one. So yeah, I do have my few favorites that I hold on to.
So veering off blankets then, what are your top tips for storage of yarn in smaller spaces? Have you got any tips and tricks there?
So right now I just have like a stack of plastic totes. And honestly, our local library has a yarn library where you can bring your yarn, and you can give a skein, take a skein kind of thing.
Okay.
Bring my yarn. So when I'm done with a project, whatever I have left over, if I'm not going to use it, I just get rid of it. I can't do like any pleasure yarn shopping. I will buy like a skein here and there, but generally what I have at any given time is only for the projects that I'm working on. And once I'm done with the project, and everybody at the library loves it when I bring the yarn, because I have so it doesn't last long, to say the least. But yeah, that's what I do. When I'm done with it, I have to get rid of it. And I'll have another smaller project that I know I can use it for, but I can't have a lot of yarn sitting around. So that's how I do that.
Well, that's such a refreshing way, isn't it? Because loads of crochets, loads of crafts, as you see these walls of yarn, and sometimes it doesn't even get used. So it's really great to see the other side as well. You can actually buy yarn just for the project, use it, and perhaps donate the rest for the next crocheter to use. So it's really great to see that you don't need a wall of yarn to really enjoy working with it and sharing it with others as well.
Definitely. I am lucky. I do have the space. I have this whole room in our house, but every 6 months I have a complete sort out and a complete, because we as designers, we have to use new yarn for new projects, don't we? It's very hard to use that same yarn, like as you say, unless it's a small project. It's very hard to then translate it to something else. And I do this, and I just give it. We don't have a yarn. Well, maybe we do, but I don't know about them. The yarn libraries, but I just give them away to the local charity shop. and they love it. They love it when I take it in. They're always like, oh, this sells so well. This sells so easily. And it's like, I try and keep the yarn bands and stuff, you know, so that people kind of know what it is. But yeah, and I think, and for anyone, that's the other thing. If you are worried about the cost of yarn, etc., go to your thrift stores, go to your charity shops, and pick up whatever you find. That's what I did when I first started, because I was like, I don't want to spend a fortune on yarn. But just beware, just know what you're kind of what you're buying if it's for a specific project.
And it's sometimes that kind of overwhelm, isn't it? Because I don't know about you girls, but sometimes I go into my wardrobe, and when you open it, and I'm not saying I've got loads of clothes, but you know, when you open that wardrobe, it's like, I don't know what to wear. Like, there is obviously choices, and you think like, I don't know what to wear. And sometimes I'm like that when I look at my yarn stash. I'm just thinking like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to pick. I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to do with all these yarns. So you kind of close it back. I was like, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, definitely. And someone said here as well, Facebook local groups is a great place to post your yarn as well. Yeah, that's a great idea. Definitely. Yeah. Oh, and this is an interesting question. Why don't designers incorporate more advanced stitches into the pattern? So I assume we're talking about blankets still. It seems that introducing stitches will help us to learn. And I think maybe you just need to be searching, because I think there are lots of designers that do. Like, say, Veronika and I recently have done quite a complex crochet along with that very intention, isn't it, to teach. But I think there's hundreds of thousands of designs out there, ranging from so simple through to really advanced. And I think you just need to shop around really and have a good search.
If you search for like a stitch sampler blankets, I think that's very much their purpose, that they incorporate loads of different stitches in order for you to learn different stitches. So yeah, stitch samplers are pretty good for that.
Yeah, and this is really insightful from Sandy, saying I think it's a fine line. On one hand, you want people to learn new things, but on the other hand, you don't want to discourage them from incorporating too many new things. And I think that's what is great, that there's so much variety out there. And I think you as the crocheter, as the maker, you need to make that decision of like, do I want something that I just can zone out to and just relax to, or do I want something that's going to push me and challenge me?
Yeah, I have two cows coming up. Well, coming up, than the other one, but it will be a stitch sampler blanket. But I have a road trip cal coming up in June with 11 other designers, and we're taking a virtual road trip around the US and around the world. And that is for intermediate and up crocheters. So that's going to drop June 15th, and there's a lot of awesome sections in that with, you know, if you're looking for a nice challenge, there is mosaic crochet. Erin from Juniper and Oaks designed a mosaic strip, and yeah, there's some really fun ones. So
that sounds awesome. So the best way, I suppose, to hear about that is to sign up to your email. So if people go and get their freebie from the summit, actually make sure you sign up and get your freebie from Christina, and she will let you know about that, because that, I think, a crochet along as well is an amazing way if you are wanting to venture into something different but a little bit intimidated by it. Join a crochet along, and this one sounds perfect. It sounds fun, but also sounds like you're going to learn stuff as well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've almost run out of time again. It always happens, doesn't it? We get so feeling. It's like, oh my gosh, nearly out of time.
If you just remind us what your freebie was, Christine, because I think it really ties in with the topic and with why you basically got into crocheting blankets. So the freebie that people can sign up to your email list and they get your amazing freebie.
The Calm Through Crochet guide is, I just wrote a short guide on, you know, my journey to finding, you know, mindfulness through crochet. And, you know, I do still struggle with it, but it's so much better than it was. And, you know, hopefully will help the maker on their journey. And you don't even need to be, you don't have to struggle with PTSD or anxiety or anything. I think it's just a very meditative practice on its own. So no matter who you are, I think you'll benefit with my Calm Through Crochet guide.
Awesome.
Lovely resource, and that is completely free. If you go through in the system, in your login, go to Christine's page and you can sign up for her list, and she will send it to you magically.
as if by magic.
Definitely. Oh, Christine, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been, I know you've been poorly, so thank you so much for being able to be with us.
Thank you.
Time next for who's next? It's Selena. Selena's next, talking about ways and methods for teaching crochet, which is awesome. I said, anyone that thinks, oh, that's not for me, you need to go and watch it, because absolutely it is for you. Definitely.
For everyone.
We'll go over and watch that, and then we'll be back live with Selena as soon as that finishes. So hop on over, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Christine. See you soon, everyone.